I had a dream. It wasn't a dream that was strange or incoherent. It was actually incredibly detailed and vivid. It was more than just a dream, it was an experience. It felt like it lasted for a long time. So the dream starts as I'm waking up and getting out of bed, but I find myself inside of an old English cottage. Very small, cozy. But then I notice I have trouble standing up, almost as if my body feels very weak. So I shuffle myself over to the bathroom and I go to look in the mirror. I see an old man looking back at me, and but I recognize the face. It's my face, but I'm aged up significantly. Very wrinkly, bald, no facial hair, nothing. Just very wrinkly. I put on some clothes and I wander through the house and I find this calendar on the wall. According to the calendar, it's my birthday, but according to the year, I'm 100 years old. But to me, it's not a big deal. It's just another day. So then I enter the kitchen and I'm greeted by an old golden Labrador retriever. Relaxed and obedient, he waits patiently for me to feed him. I stretch and bend down to pick up his bowl and I fill it with biscuits and then put it down on the ground and tell him to wait. I then shuffle over to my pills, my morning pills, where they're kept inside of a box for each day. But today I look at my morning pills and I shake my head and I say, not today. And then I discard them and drop them in the bin and close the lid. Then I make toast and I slather it in butter and I put a dollop of jam on it. Then I warm up some mulled wine and I pour it into a glass. And then I take my toast and my mulled wine over to an old wooden table and I take a seat. Then I tell the dog to go and he heads over and starts eating. Later, I look outside of the kitchen window and see that it's heavily raining outside. Very dark, very cloudy. But I decide to go out anyway. I put on reasonably smart clothes, a waterproof jacket, some boots, and a hat. I put the dog on the lead and then I pick up a small bag and put it over my shoulder. Then I go to the front door and collect my old walking stick before I head out of the door. The village itself is unlike any village I've ever seen or ever been to. It's really extraordinary that your mind is capable of generating such a realistic and detailed place, but obviously imaginary. So anyway, I set off with the old dog and I walk through the village, and it's pouring down with rain, but I don't mind, and I come to some fields and I start cutting across fields and up hills and through the woods, and then I find that the rain is getting rather torrential, but I continue anyway. I then arrive at what looks like an old chestnut tree. I walk underneath the canopy to be sheltered from the rain. I use my old walking stick as support as I sit myself down with my back against the tree. I sit down and just relax and I watch the old dog just sort of wander around a bit. And then I take my side bag and I unzip it and pull out a metal cigar box, possibly an antique. I open the box to reveal a smoking pipe, and I think, why not? I put in the tobacco into the pipe and I light it, and I take 3 puffs and I sit back and I smile. Later, I wander back to the village. I make my way to the local pub. I come in through the door. I take off my hat and my coat and dry off. The patrons sitting at the bar turned to see me come through the door. They smile and wave, and I smile and wave back. I must be a regular. However, they don't greet me with happy birthday, so it suggests that they don't know me well enough. The pub seems quiet and not too busy. I take a seat at a table by a window. The dog follows and puts himself down by my feet and rests. The people behind the bar notice me sitting at the table. They send a waitress over to come and take my order. I order fish and chips and a pint of ale. As I wait, I begin to hear distant shouting and laughter. I lean forward to see what's going on, and it seems like the other patrons are watching football on a large television on the far side of the pub. I observe for a moment or two, and then I turn back and look out the window and watch the rain. Later, I return home. It's late evening now, so I go into the bedroom and put on something that's a little bit more comfortable. I take off my shirt and my tie, etc., and I put on like a fleece jumper and slippers. Then I go into the kitchen, I feed the dog, I wash up my plate from the morning, and then I heat up some mulled wine and place some into a glass. I walk into the living room and switch on the electric fire before I sit down with my glass of mulled wine in my armchair. I sit there for a moment, just thinking, and then the dog comes in to join me and sits down next to the chair. I proceed to pat him on the head, but then I start looking around the room, and there are many framed photographs in this living room where there are photos of people that I don't recognize. However, there is a photograph I noticed that was a small photograph framed, and it was a picture of me as a young man with a woman with blonde hair and blue eyes, and I don't know who this woman is at all. And I look at the other photographs, and it seems that they are photos of several moments throughout my life. There's a photograph of me as a middle-aged man. I look like I'm severely balding, standing with with this red-headed woman that, again, I don't know who she is. But of what I can gather, the woman with the blonde hair is supposed to be my wife, and there is a portrait of 2 red-headed people, a boy and a girl, and I'm guessing that they're supposed to be my own children. And you know, you it's they all had unique faces. They all looked unique. They didn't. It's really quite. It's really quite amazing how this is a dream, right? And your brain uh, can generate obviously the surrounding the place. The place is completely generated. It can't exist. But also the the people in the dream are just so realistic. They're so they are unique and have unique faces. They act and talk like real people. They are interacting with each other like real people. It's yeah, it's very strange. It's very amazing. Really quite amazing. Um, so anyway, in this point of the dream, I realize that I guess I'm, you know, the reason I'm alone is because I must be a widower, because it seems like that this woman uh, with the blonde hair seems to appear in a younger photograph of me, and also in other photographs with me throughout my life. So I suppose she became my life partner. So I'm guessing that she must have died at some point, and then I ended up on my own. Is what I'm guessing here. So anyway, I'm sitting in this armchair and I'm looking around the room and looking at these photographs, um, and I feel sad. I feel lonely. I feel yes, it's strange. Why am I on my own? What has happened to the rest of these people? I don't know. By this point, it's dark outside, and I'm still sitting in the armchair, and I'm sipping on the mulled wine, and the dog is on his bed, and he's gone to sleep. Um, uh, then suddenly there is a knock at the door, and uh, the dog gets up and lets out a rather pathetic sort of old man bark. Um, so I stand up and I tell tell the dog to relax, and I go to the door and I pull the old wooden door open towards me, and outside the door I find the red-headed girl from the photographs. Um, she's much older, but she then um, hugs me and says, "Happy birthday, Dad." And I then notice that there's other people with her. There's that man, who I'm guessing is my son from those photographs, and uh, and a bunch of other people who, I guess are supposed to be grandchildren and whatever else. At this point in the dream, I'm uh, overwhelmed with a feeling of happiness. I'm really, I really, really just so happy. I'm just so happy, and it's like then suddenly the dream just ends, and I wake up, and that feeling of happiness um, made me feel like I just didn't want to leave. I just wanted to I wanted to stay. I So this dream was more than just a dream. It was an experience. It was so vivid and so realistic, and just um, it was so long as well. I was literally living an entire day. It really felt like that much time had passed. Um, Now, I I do have I've had vivid dreams before. Um, they're rare, but when they happen, they're really quite extraordinary. But this is the first time I've decided to actually take notes and record a dream like this. And so I've got the notes in front of me right now, because gradually, since I woke up, and gradually throughout the day, I started to forget about the details of the dream, and gradually, as I got towards the end of the day, it started to just sort of, there were big pieces of the dream that started to sort of fade away from my memory. But luckily, I've written everything down, so I can be like, oh yes, there it is. Right, I remember that now. So now, what does it mean when you want to stay in a dream? And a dream as an old man who is also a widower. What does that mean? Okay? I mean, I would, if I was to find a life partner, a wife or whatever, I would want to be the first one to die. I wouldn't want to be a widower. But still, I just, I really, it, I just wanted to stay, and I wanted to know these these people. I My waking life, I've got no woman, no accomplishments, no purpose, and I'd much rather stay in a dream as an elderly man, as a man who's 100 years old. I mean, I don't even see that as, I don't know whether that's really realistic. And also, there were some things in the dream, like you know, fields and stuff like that. Realistically, in the future, that shit is just going to be a block of flats. Let's be honest. The trees, everything, it's all going to be gone. It's all going to be a block of flats. You know, but it was it was just a nice experience. It was Yeah, it was a. I wonder. I I'm thinking like, what what does this um this dream ultimately mean? Is it trying to tell me that uh you know this is what you really want? Now, I already know that. That you know I already have traditional values. I already have those kind of. I'm already that way inclined anyway, and so I'm thinking that the point of the point of the dream is that I think it's my unconscious mind telling me that this is a this is what you can have, right? This is what you can have. This is where you can end up, right? And if you don't figure out life now, that's not going to happen. You know, that is a potential future. You know. Now, I I I'm I'm a very simple man. I'm now you think, why would you want to end up like that? That doesn't sound like anything special, you know. Well, I'm a very simple man, I'm and I feel like, you know, living in a cottage in the country, having a family, and all that sort of thing. That's all that really matters to me. That I don't ask for anything more than that. Um, it's very simple and it's very easy. I don't want anything more than that. I don't want money. I don't want I don't care. I don't care about money. I I just want to be happy, you know. Even, you know. So, and it's also like, I feel like in that moment it was also, you know, happiness that I had a, you know, a family who actually cared. In the end, it turned out, you know, that people actually came to see me on my birthday, you know, my 100th birthday. But it also felt like I had accomplished my life's goals, and that feeling of accomplishment um, also made me feel really happy as well, because um, yeah, it was like, I just felt fulfilled. I felt content, you know, in that moment. And it kind of feels like, you know, the moment I woke up, you know, feel like, okay, you know, the unconscious mind, the unconscious side of my mind is just like, okay, you get it, you get it, and then it pulls me out, brings me to reality, and I feel like it's trying to say, like, this is what you can have, right? This is the, you know, the place you can be, but you gotta get your shit together. You know, you gotta figure shit out. You gotta, you know, or that potential future, or any potential future is not going to happen. You know, nothing's going to happen, right? Um, I got to say also, like your your brain has my you know the brain clearly has like this vast imagination. Like when I'm awake, uh, I don't know. I could never imagine something like that in that level of detail. But when you're asleep, you must be using like 100% of your brain. Having that kind of experience. You like say you're awake and when you're awake, you use like 20% of your brain. When you're asleep and having an experience like that, you must be using like 100% of your brain, because your brain is creating the scenario, is creating the place, and also creating the people you are interacting with in this kind of dream, right? Creating like generating like an entire place that doesn't exist, right? um, but it designs it and just explodes it into existence, and even makes makes it look so realistic, and makes the people like it's like your brain is it's like your brain is like some kind of AI generator, you know. Yeah, like yeah. The difference is with AI, you type in a prompt, but yeah, your brain just does that on its own, just just creates that shit on its own. I'm just rambling now, but yeah, I don't know. I hope this hasn't been too boring. I've kind of listened back to some of this, some of my, some of this audio and stuff, and I don't know why, but there's some words that I say that I don't know. I just kind of sound posh, and I think, oh no, I might need to re-record this. But I think, oh fuck it, whatever. I'm not posh, but for some reason, several moments I noticed that really sounded like I came across as very posh, but that's not the case at all. But yeah, maybe I kind of went into too much detail. Maybe I should have just got to the point. However, I wanted to sort of get across how detailed the dream actually was. I suppose. But yeah, if if you've enjoyed and actually taken the time to listen to this entire thing, yeah, I appreciate it. So yeah, I used AI again to kind of create some kind of visual representation of what it was I saw and experienced. It's not entirely accurate to what I saw, but it's pretty good. It's pretty good stuff. Um, Pretty close. But yeah, I suppose you get an idea of, get a visual idea, I suppose. But yeah, yeah, I don't have much else to say. Um, uh, yeah, so anyway, I guess goodbye.
I guess it comes down to a simple choice, really. Get busy living, or get busy dying.